Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 27 here on Monteith with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, I'm just waiting by the truck here for Sam to get his butt out of the house. As you can see, it is harvest time here on the farm, and we are going to head down and meet Bill and Harold at Field 10, one of our soybean fields, and we are going to get harvest underway in earnest. Now, yesterday, Sam and I went and opened that field up. We did the two headlands, and then we took care of the straw as well, because that field does not have a really good staging area, so we need to kind of make room in the field itself. So we took care of that so we could have no delays messing about getting going this morning once Bill and Harold showed up. Now, speaking of Bill, there have been some equipment changes on the farm, and I will say this, Bill is absolutely giddy these days, but we're not going to go into that right now. You're going to have to just follow along this episode. There's too much to update. I don't want to spend a bunch of time doing that this morning. We want to get right onto the harvest. But while I wait for Sam, I will just update you on that grass field we did. We ended up with 50 hay bales, 46 silage bales. So I tedded a little bit too much. I need to reverse that in the future. And then I did talk to the farmer who owned Field 4, and he let us take a little straw. So I dropped the straw on the first headland and baled that up, and we got 19 bales of straw. So that was all to feed our cattle. Well, I see Sam's coming, so let's jump in the truck and get it fired up. We're going to take care of this first field with a cinematic, and if you keep your eyes peeled, you might even notice something new. So we will meet you at the field. Sit back and enjoy the tunes. Well, I hope you enjoyed that cinematic. We're down here just dropping off the last load of soybeans from that field. So, did you spot the new piece of gear? We have now two X9 harvesters. And to go along with that, we have two new 15-meter bean headers. Now, the harvester came up for sale used, so we picked that up used, about 50% off. It had a very few hours on it, less than 10 hours, I think 9.6, something like that. So it was basically a demo unit. So we got a long-term lease on that, and then we also leased the two bean headers. But that's not all. So stick around and find out what else is new. There is our truck unloaded. Let's run here and see what we have. We have 216, nearly 217,000 liters off of that field. All right, so what's going to happen here now? Rebecca is going to take my place on the harvest team, and Amanda now has a hoeing contract and the baling to do. Those are jobs that she really likes. And you and I are going to go make a feed mix. So let me get that all organized, and I'll meet you up at the home place. So we'll see you in just a minute. Well, as promised, we're up here at the main house to make a feed mix, but it is actually the following day. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I decided to wait for harvest to progress a little bit further before bringing you back in so I could report on that. And in fact, we did finish our bean harvest this morning, and we got 525,000 liters of soybeans off our fields, and there were no soybean harvesting contracts available. So we are done with the soybeans. We finished that up, like I said, this morning. We switched everything over to do corn, but then a rain shower came up before we could get started on that. So that has shut down all field work for a while. We'll have to wait till after lunch sometime before we can get started back up, because we need to let things dry out. But right behind me, you can see another new piece of gear. Now, I have never used one of these in my FS career. I always thought they were kind of ugly looking things, but you know what? I thought I'd give it a try on here. I wanted to see how it would work, and you know what? It actually works pretty darn good. Still think it's rather ugly, but it does work good. But I did do a long-term lease on it, basically for two reasons. Like I said, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work, and there was a financial reason. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all that financial stuff right at the end of the episode before sign off. So those of you who are interested in it will find it there. And if you're not interested in it, well then you can just skip it. Another change I made is I turned our 3020 here into a loader tractor, as well as the tractor we used to do our tedding. And the reason for that was that basically we weren't using this tractor a lot, just like I said, for tedding. And that freed up our 7810, which we have been using a lot because it's our main baling tractor. We also use it for rock picking and those sort of things. So I thought it made sense. And also that 3020 is a little easier to maneuver in and out of the barn for dealing with these bales. So let's jump in here and get it fired up. And like I said, this does work really good. It has a built-in bale shredder like that, and it has a very large display to let you know how much material you have in your spreader, or in your mixer, I should say. So I have 3 silage bales set out here. This first one is only a partial bale, and what we want is about between 10.5 and 11,000 liters of silage. We'll take all of this bale, I'm sure. And about another 1,000 liters or so, give or take. So it doesn't have to be exact. Oh, pretty darn close, actually. So now we'll take all of this hay bale, which is 9,500 liters. Oh, it wasn't close enough. And that would leave us about 6,000 liters for straw. Now that is a partial straw bale. It's just a little over 5,000 liters, but it'll be enough. It won't fill the mixing wagon totally, I don't think. Definitely not. Pretty close. 26,000 liters is what it'll hold. Ah, you know what? Let's just keep driving straight ahead and turn around out back here, and then we don't run into anything. So yeah, I'm really impressed with how this works. Now, in future, rather than adding a mineral feed, I'd like to add, we're going to make it just barely. I'd like to add corn to our mix. I do have a mod in that allows you to modify the feed mix a little bit. I haven't played with it yet, but I will do so and see if we can add some corn to it rather than adding a mineral feed. So something to look forward to here in the future. Now our bank account is not looking too bad, and we certainly could have bought some of the equipment we leased. But like I said, we are going to explain my reasoning near the end of the episode. Now we still have our S7. I didn't get rid of it, but we have two bean headers that the S7 couldn't use, and we have two corn headers. I was thinking of getting another corn header and using the S7 with our smaller auger wagon and just a couple people going and working on the small fields while we worked on the big fields with another crew with our big harvesters. But you know what? I think I'm going to put a pin in that. I may end up selling it because although we are going to gain some efficiencies. Now let's see if this, there we go. She's unloading just like that. Now, we're going to gain a little bit of efficiency with the extra X9 on corn. It doesn't run any bigger header, but it does have a larger hopper capacity, so it means we have to cart a tiny bit less. But we gained a lot on the soybean efficiency with the bigger headers and the larger capacity. We got the soybean harvest done pretty quick, and so that gives us more time to deal with the corn harvest. So that's why I'm thinking we may be able to get away with just the two large harvesters. Now there's something I want to show you here. You will notice the slurry pit is gone. I've confirmed we don't get any slurry from this pen, so I deleted that and we got our money back for that. So that is where some of the funds came from as well. We got reimbursed for our slurry silo, I guess is what it is. All right, well, our pen I think can hold one more mix, so I'm going to go ahead and make that up. But I will leave you there, and like I said, this is not going anywhere, so I'm pretty happy with this. And there's one more thing I need to show you, and that will be in the field. So when the time is right, don't being a little bit of cryptic there, but I don't want to give it away. When the time is right, I'll meet you at the field and show you something else that we have. So I will see you in a little while. Well, good morning. It is the following day. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we are down here on field 3, our cornfield that is just a little ways away from our main equipment yard. You can see off in the distance there. We did manage to get this field harvested yesterday afternoon, and I got all the straw baled up and hauled off of it so that we can put this bad boy to work. Look at this. Brand new to us anyways. 9RX 830, 913 horsepower. I told you Bill was giddy. I believe it's the word I used. A new X9 combine and one of these, basically all at the same time on the farm. Now this was used again. It was 46% off. It had 15 hours on it, and so we were able to get it on a higher purchase lease as well. And like I said, I'll explain why I did that basically after we're done here, because we'll be done with the episode. I did sell our 9RT, our 2-track tractor, because we certainly had to get rid of something to bring this on the farm. And our 9RT had no trouble pulling this plow here, but our cultivator, it pulled hard. And so for that reason, I decided to upgrade to this, because this will have no trouble pulling that cultivator around the field. And so that's what this tractor's job is going to be, is just doing the tillage work in the fall. And I won't need to steal the carting tractor, and we can get tillage started a little bit earlier, or I won't have to be, I have more tillage options, let's put it that way, in the fall with this big guy. So what we're going to do is we are going to do this plowing of this cornfield here in a cinematic. So sit back and enjoy the tunes and watching this big guy at work, and we'll catch up with you when it's done. Well, there we go. With that job done, I'm just watching the cultivator fold up here in the backup camera. Just another one of the things to like about this tractor. And even if I do say so myself, I thought it looked pretty darn good out there in the field. It certainly had no issue at all pulling that plow, and I'm sure it won't have any trouble with that cultivator. It has, well, I guess 300 horsepower more than the 9RT did, the two-track tractor, and like it had no trouble with the plow, like I said, but it did pull the cultivator as well. So no issues there with this. So Bill, Harold, Rebecca, and Sam are the harvest crew still, and Amanda and I are left to deal with the straw, the animals, and then, of course, like we just did, the fall tillage. Now, my original plan was that Amanda and I, or Amanda could have gone on either team, and Sam and I could have gone and run the S7, or we'd have to get another corn harvester and do the small cornfields. But like I said, we gained so much time with that extra X9, I should say, uh, on the soybean that, you know what, I think we're going to be okay. And this year is a really good test because the only soybean fields on the map were our fields and all the rest is corn. Although we did lose one small corn harvest. One of the small fields was completed by the AI. But then that would have been a target field for us to do with the S7 as well. So shut her down, jump out here. And you can see we are, Amanda and I are working on this field, but we stopped to get the straw and the bales off of that field we just did. So we could carry on with the episode, but we'll get back on that right away. So I promised you a bit of a financial update. Let's get a good view here, something like that. And I decided to put it at the end rather than the beginning because there's probably not as many people are interested in that, and it's a bit of a longer explanation this time. So if we take a look at our finances, let's just open up the shop menu here. We can see we are sitting, I should say, at 1.368 million is where our current funds are. And we need, what is it, 1.2 something to pay for that field here in early spring. Now, my one choice was, with this equipment swapping that we did, would have been to pay cash for a lot of this because it was all used, and then make a large mortgage to buy out that land. But I decided not to do that, and I sold off the 9RT and the two bean headers that we had, and I kept that money, and everything else I put in a long-term lease. And so that left us with that 1.3 million. Now there is what was 160,000 worth of contracts, and I have sold. I think it's nearly 150,000 worth of bales already. We've already kept the bales, the straw bales that we need. So what it is if we look in here, if we look at our hire purchase screen, so now we have a bunch of hire purchase contracts that we've committed to, and we're paying some, still only $7,500 a month. I did put 30% down on almost everything, but because it's all pretty pricey, I went for long term. But now, like for example, if we sell the S7 and that's worth over 300,000, we could, for example, we could pay out the big 9RX, and that would not only reduce our debt load, but it would remove $1,900 from our monthly commitment. Where if I took a big mortgage, we could take, and if we sold something or we, got a bunch of contract income or harvest income, we could put that towards the mortgage. It would reduce the term but would not reduce our monthly debt payments, if that makes sense. So this way just gives the farm more financial flexibility. As we get money in, we can pay some of these leases out and get rid of some of our monthly payments. So that's the reason I did that. It doesn't really reduce our debt load. It just puts us some smaller debts that we can pay off and get out of, if that all makes sense. One other thing I'll mention here before I sign off too is during the recording of this episode, I crossed the 500 subscriber mark. And so I want to thank all of the new subscribers who have joined recently to make that happen. But not only those folks, all of the existing subscribers that have joined the channel since its inception. I want to thank each and every one of you. I really, really do appreciate it. It's awesome to cross that threshold. And I look forward to the next one, which is, of course, the big 1,000. See how long that takes. I suspect it's going to be a while. But anyways, with that, I think we will wrap up this episode. Harvest will continue. Continue looking after the animals, and we'll likely see you in spring. We'll see what goes on between now and then. I do have kind of a plan to add another field, but we'll just see how that goes. We got to pay for what we've committed to first. So we'll see what we get from harvest contracts and that, and how it all shakes out. And I will let you know at planting time. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode, here on Monteith, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.